Fontana Dam Town Council meeting here. It's going to be Thursday the 23rd. Our schedule's a little off this month. The weather, scheduling, whatnot. So we apologize for that. But we're going to call to order here. Looks like 5:34. Alright, on the agenda, don't have a lot there. Entertaining a motion unless somebody has a adjustment that needs to be made there.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you, sir. All in favor?
Aye.
Alright, December minutes. I kind of glanced at them, an email, looked good to me. Got a synopsis of what we did last time. If we don't have any adjustments to that, I'll entertain a motion on that.
Motion to approve.
Thanks, Amanda. All in favor?
Aye.
Public, basically we've got you today. Have you got any comments from the paper or from the town or anything, or from the that side of the mountain?
No comments.
Okay, good, good. Thank you. Alright. I guess Zell's going to be doing the utility update today.
Well, there isn't a whole lot. It's basically, so we have found an area that when we valve it off, our waters, we start gaining 1.5 foot an hour versus less than 1 foot an hour that we're currently at. But, and we called 811 and they came in. I guess they identified everything. They've been digging over there, but we can't find where the leak's at. So I'm not sure. We had Tyson come in from Rural Water. Tyson took the place of Keith Buff. And so he's a little bit younger, a little bit more energetic and stuff. Got out and listened. She took it to every valve we had. And that is where the most noise is coming from. But we just cannot locate where that leak's at.
What area is it?
And that's from the intermediate tank going towards your horse stables. So it is in that loop out there somewhere. And as they were digging, they even found, I think, that old, like some old foundation from where the restaurant used to be out there. You know, so she was like, was there ever a restaurant out here? And I'm like, yeah, many, many moons ago. You know, back when they started all the young boys and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah, over there, yeah. So, a long time ago.
Yeah, I know. There was a maintenance shed down, kind of in the curve as well. I think, like down, just down from the pullout for the nature trail. Llewellyn Cove, I can't remember.
No, it's not. Yeah, Llewellyn Cove is where that is, the nature trail is. But I think
trail.
this is on out past, like in around the horse stable area out
So
there.
only, okay.
Is where the noise is coming through that valve. So I guess.
So what's down that? Is it the top of the dam? Is it?
Well, it has that in the marina in that loop too, but
so it's
just, so there's several loops that goes out through there apparently. So you know we fixed the one,
right.
That one that Tim came in and fixed, and we were doing really good there.
right.
And then things just steadily started getting worse again. They found places out there that is testing very positive for chlorine, but they can't find.
Yeah.
They cut open 2 pipes. One was a 2-inch that nobody even knew was out there. It was dry, and one was a 6-inch that they knew was there, but it was dry as well. So they're not finding where this water is coming from.
So when they valve that off, the main tank.
Starts filling up at 1.5 foot versus like 0.84 foot. I mean, right now we're having to operate right at 20 hours a day.
So it's 3/4 of a foot an hour,
Mhm.
roughly improvement. Whenever
We valve that off,
we
yeah.
take that out of the equation.
And
So,
well, at least it puts us back to where we're gaining what would work at
right,
a 14-hour day,
right.
which is still far too much. But you know, with this grant, I don't even know. I mean, I haven't heard a word from them on that. After I sent those maps in, you know, I had to send colored maps in because black and white would not do, and the colored in the email would not do. So I had to pull out the 20 pages of colored maps and print them off and send them in. they've gotten them, but nobody's replied anything back to me yet, so.
So I guess my point was that might be certainly a point of emphasis on the investigation. One of the areas, high priority areas that we would want to say,
This is where we need to start out.
this looks like a possibility, whether, and ideally if we could figure out what line off of there the leak was coming from, or if it was on the main trunk, we could bypass it, or, we could do a section, that might be the place we start,
I just know you got Carrie over there that's been working on it, and Jeff over there's been working on it. They've been digging things up. I mean, I don't know why they can't find something, I mean, they obviously have been doing all this for a while, so I don't know, they know the area, but there's just so many lines down in there that have been abandoned, and as they've moved up to the village,
Right.
I'm not sure that they ever really valved anything off. And just like that one that was shooting out water, there was no wetness around anywhere. Even like when you dug down to it, it was just like, and it was just shooting water, and just like right around it was a little dam, because it's just going straight down. So I guess I don't know.
A question that we brought up when we were talking about this briefly was, what would it look like putting that marina on well coverage and taking that entire line out of the equation? Because then the thing that's impacted, right, is the dam, right? Because they're
At the
getting
top
their
of the dam,
water.
like they hit the
Yeah,
top, right?
top of the dam, the
Campground.
Yeah,
No, the
visitors-
campground's not on there
No,
because campground's turned off right now.
the visitor center, the gift shop. I don't know of any, and then I think the Hilton. And
Yeah.
the bathroom facilities for the AT hikers.
And I will say that back previously they tried to do some wells here, to
Yeah.
do for, and there's a lot of iron in the water, in the groundwater around here. So I don't know if it would also be out there, but I just know that they could never get a well, and they dug quite a few, didn't they? Like,
I'm not sure.
it seems like there was like 3 or 4 that they tried digging, and they could never get clear water. It was just red.
Crazier question then, with the demand that the marina actually draws, does anybody make some kind of are there like micro processing plants where it would just get its own like semi-automatic thing that just purifies for whatever that demand is, and then we just take whatever we got to do to reduce that demand to make it work, or is that like insane and it's just cheaper to run the lines?
I don't know. That would have to be.
Just thinking outside of the box here.
Sure.
Because
Right,
you're already
yeah.
at the water, and then we're not fighting
Right.
miles and miles
Yeah.
of rock and terrain. Like we're just going in a relatively straight shot.
Or depending on demand, could you use, those huge pallets of water like you would see an off-grid home?
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know if that would work.
Because it's treated as potable water, and
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's the way they solved the storm problems, I guess, whenever all of those breaks, all the businesses brought them in and had them. I guess my thinking would be if I can identify, where on that line we seem to be good with pressure and flow, and where on that line we aren't, and if you can kind of, my thinking is if you can identify the section,
It would narrow it down, for sure.
you just cut it out, and we talk about
Yeah.
places where we can just come in, dig it up, lay something right in the trench, or prepare the trench per code, and basically an in situ replacement, and easy peasy. And then any place where you've got all these extra junctions that we don't need anymore.
And I
we
almost
take them
think,
out of the
it's
equation.
blowing joints out is what it's doing, because when you turn the pressure off and then you turn it back on, even if you're doing it gentle, these pipes are so old, if they've got like junctions where, from old pipes and stuff, that it's just blowing it. And, and like you've said many times, this goes back to being a whack-a-mole, because you just then
You
have
fix
to,
one, you create another.
yeah.
It sounds like it's downstream though, from the marina junction. Because that happens at the road.
Right.
So you're saying below the horse stable?
Yes, I think it's below the horse
So-
stable. Like, right almost where the gates are on the road that goes, I guess, down to the campground is where they've been digging it.
So the question I would have right now is the top of the dam, is the visitor center open?
Not really, because we're working on it.
Bathrooms
We're
are
working, the
open.
bathrooms are technically open, and one of them
They
is.
keep
but-
those open.
Okay. So I guess, so we
And what
have,
about the Hilton? Is water and all still turned on out there?
it should be. But I guess my question is, if we don't have demand at the moment, I mean,
Well, and you know, another issue
what
that I'm
happens if
worried
you run a
about
few
is
days?
there's been a lot of people that their water is frozen up here in the village. I mean, Melissa's water was frozen. There's been several other people that did not turn on water that no longer, you know, they're during this cold spell. Did you guys turn your water on? Let it drip?
We forgot about it because I'm not used to not having insulated buildings, even though I'm coming from way.
Did your water freeze?
Yeah, we're frozen.
You're frozen too, yeah. So when this thaw comes, then there ain't no telling what's gonna happen then.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, there could be some issues.
Yeah,
with
well,
all that.
there's a bunch of cabins that are frozen now.
Yeah.
Do you have an outlet box under your house? Or, no, I was gonna say, I could, on your reading heater or whatever.
Oh, it's, yeah, we'll,
That's what we did to one of us under the house.
But, you know, it does beg the question. I think we're getting to the critical stage on trying to fix some of this stuff. And, you know,
And we can't seem to get this environmental study approved, and season's right around the corner again, you know?
we really need an experienced, somebody that's, you know, an expert in this field that can come in here and help us, and that's
Well, I
gonna
mean,
cost
rural water
money.
is about the biggest expert that you can find. They really are. This is what they're trained in. This is what they do. That's what these, what do they call them? Not ridge runners, but anyway, like the Keith Buffs and the Tysons and stuff. That is what they're trained to do. They have the equipment. They come out. They can listen. They got high tech stuff.
I mean,
You
didn't
know?
they even have LiDAR one time or something?
Yeah, I mean, it's like everything that
So we're stumping them.
yeah, they are the same thing. It's like you've got so much uncharted territory. You know, you got so much rock. You got so many lines that are not capped and valves that aren't capped off. That it's just it's almost it's like a maze and trying to find where everything's going and what's broken and you know and what's not. But whatever is going on, we've definitely got a major leak because water loss is like humongous.
So part of me wonders, what if we just said, we want to replace this line, say from Marina Road, or, you know, thereabouts, where we know we're good, because we already replaced that section. We go from Marina Road, I'm assuming it's down the road, or I don't know how it lays.
See, I know that Robin even had Carrie's husband and son and stuff. They all came in and was digging around out there too, trying to. I mean, there's been a lot of people that are looking for this leak, and we got water showing pink, and
But if we were to replace, if we were to replace that section, and, you know, I don't know what happens though. I mean, is TVA gonna get involved once we sort of get into like TVA proper, you know, where would we have to go to
yeah, there's a bunch of questions. I'm talking to them tomorrow, and I can mention that.
yeah, we've identified a leak in that general area. We don't exactly know how far we would have to go. Where would that place be that wouldn't trigger something more intensive, right? Pretty much, you know, beyond the, you know, because we had the pool, you had the pool, you had some other things, some other structures in there
right.
that you're probably going to have to feed a tap down back to the stables. But aside from that, you know, from the marina to TVA property proper, you know, off the lease, aside from the stables, what else is there?
Well, I don't know, but don't you remember that back several months ago? But even going up towards the dam, we were off over in there with backhoe and found the leak. I don't know what world that was. I don't know if that was the one that run up to the Hilton. I have no idea, but there's pipes and stuff all in there.
So is it possible some of that could be on TVA?
Well, I'm sure it is.
I mean,
And I don't know.
Yeah,
You know, if we have-
non-lease property.
Yeah, and I don't know if we're having all of these issues like with the environmental study, like noise and all these things that to me don't have anything to do with anything, but it's still part of it. And we go in and we fix something like, are we violating something? I don't know. You know, even, I mean, because it's being, we can't just go in there and do it right now, you know, because we gotta wait on this environmental study. So
Well,
if we go in and do it outside of that, is that, I don't know.
that is an interesting question. You know, in the normal scope of operation, you know, if we needed to replace a section of land because it was broken, and you don't, you know, get an official permit, you know, because it's on your lease. I mean, we've never really. It's never
we
been
don't
an
apply
issue.
for permits now to do it.
Correct. So if we're just replacing a section of pipe, maybe a little bit bigger section, but it's still just a piece.
So why is it so difficult then to get anything done here? Because that's all we're doing is replacing what's already there.
We're talking about a bunch of different agencies, though. Like for the TVA, for instance, if you have if it's on TVA, I will have to talk to it. TVA is going to have to
If it
do
crosses off the
a
lease.
study. Right, because because if we're going into the ground, then they're going to have to do environmental review.
But if it's on our lease, and we needed to dig up a valve, that shouldn't be a problem. When does it?
It hasn't been a problem.
When does it trigger a?
I don't know.
I
don't
don't
either.
know.
I don't know.
I would think that's roughly where it is.
Maybe a little before that.
But as far as like the scope, if it's a 20-foot section, is it okay? If it's a 50-foot section, and that triggers a different protocol?
Yeah.
It's a good
See,
question.
this environmental review has really opened up all kinds of questions that I never even would have thought of before,
Yeah.
you know, because it's like, I just would have figured it would have been very simple. We're not changing anything.
We're staying in the footprint.
We're right in the same footprint we were, and yet we've had to go through three Native American entities. We've had to go through. Now they're asking about, you know, noise levels, blasting, airports, all these things, and it's like, people, we're not doing anything different than what was done here
So we,
80 years ago.
So we're having to jump through a lot of hoops just to repair existing infrastructure.
And then meanwhile, we're spewing out ungodly amount of water and chemicals into the ground. You know, somewhere.
Well, they're potable chemicals, but I don't want people to think we.
Expensive.
Yeah, but it's expensive.
Right.
I mean, it's treated water.
Right, I'm just
It's
saying-
treated water.
I'm saying for the folks out there.
Yeah,
it's-
no, we're
it's-
not putting chemicals out there, but I mean, it's treated water. And, you know, I haven't even had to check at the bank yet from the last chemicals, and we're already halfway through them.
Well, I think it just hammers home the point that we're getting critical, certainly on the water loss area, and I don't know how we escalate this to the next.
I will definitely send her out an email, that Tanisha
Oh, we're
person.
calling. You and
Well-
me, we're calling tomorrow.
Okay, we can do that.
We'll go all the way up. We need to go.
Yeah, we'll call her tomorrow if you want to.
Talking about
The Tanisha, the person
Yeah.
that I'm sending this stuff to, that is throwing us stuff, so many red flags.
Yeah.
You know, and she was forcing, I was like, at one point I'd mentioned, you know, being frustrated and saying, you know, we're not trying to change anything, we're going right back in where it's coming out. I can't believe that this is so, you know, involved and hard to get accomplished. And she was like, oh, we're there to help you, we want to get this done, and that they just keep throwing up one more
Well,
red
maybe
flag.
the differentiation is if we want to do it on our own dime, we're okay to do it. But if we want somebody else's dime, we have.
Well, that's because
to
we're
lose.
using state-funded money, yeah, I mean, yeah, so that would, you know, to do that, so I guess that would have something to do with it,
But
I
I guess I
mean-
wondered in the short term,
That's a big
though.
question, though. Is if we say, like, look, we understand that the grant still has to go through this review, but are we allowed to work on this
right, yeah,
on our own? Yeah,
we can ask that.
So that roof work is ongoing.
Yeah, I don't think they're done with just pieces of gutter missing, so they, I think they're coming back. I just don't know.
I guess my point was, even in the short term, if we could, so they cut it off for how long? A few hours?
I think so, yeah. I'm not sure.
And did that include the marina or not?
I think it did, yeah. I think because she
So
had
they
said
cut
something
it off
about
at
having
the
to get.
intermediate tank and they cut that whole
Yeah,
section.
yeah, because I know that she had said something about talking with Brandon, so I'm assuming that it was with the marina as well.
So I guess my question would be, if you could leave the marina on and you could valve it from that point further down, so that we could leave the marina wet and we could get permission to turn off water to stables, and at least for the time being, those two or three places, visitor center, gift shop, and because there's I would imagine the demand is minimal at best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can turn it off for a few days and you can get a better gauge
Yeah.
of, how much you can get some more concrete numbers of what are we gaining, what in this section, how much is this really costing us? Is this a third of our problem? A quarter of our problem?
Yeah, and
half of our problem?
I need to get with Jeff too. I haven't talked to him any at all about, they were continuing to work today. Carrie, of course, was done, I think, at noon, so I don't know if anything is, you would think they would probably contact me, but maybe not, so I need to get with Jeff tomorrow as well and find out if he has found anything, or if you run across him, Thomas, maybe you can ask him if you see him in the morning while you're out and about, so. And I can find out maybe a little bit more information through him. But yeah, you're right. Maybe if we could call and say, look, we are in dire straits and we need to do some emergency work. Can we go ahead and do that? But they're going to say, well, if it's on your dime, but don't think that you can use the grant money, to reimburse.
Yeah.
You might say that.
Well, if investigate on our own dime, I think, if we could quantify it, I feel like it would help say, this is something we really need to go after. If it was anything from a quarter on, to me, would say, this is worth investigating and trying to say, is it in this section from here to here? And then you just keep working your way, until you can kind of come in from both sides, and I think you can.
But there's so many lines down there that are not marked, and they run across them, and they've got to investigate them to see, because they don't know if they're active lines or not.
And I want to just remove that out of the
Right.
equation.
Right, and that's not that long of a line, really, if you think about it, from the Marina Road to up to the edge of, the TVA lease, sort of their proper property. I mean, what is that? Half a mile?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's about a kilometer, man. That's a lot of.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying this, but I'm saying relative to the. There's a lot of junctions in there, and so there's a lot of possible weak points that we could eliminate because they're completely unnecessary.
Right. I mean, I don't even know what all was in there back in the day. I do know that there was a lot of dormitories and stuff out there, though.
But here's my concern: if we could do some investigating, we don't really know. It could be on TVA property.
Yeah,
Theoretically.
It could be very
And
much
if
so.
it is, that's going to change the whole. Yeah, we're not going to be able to do anything at that point. And that would explain to some degree why we're not seeing some of that
Where it's
water,
at, yeah.
because it's not in our scope.
It's not areas that we would.
And is that our line? Is it their line? I mean, there's a kind of a.
Well, I would say at the very least it would have to be a partnership working in that,
Right.
If it is over on out of the leased property of the resort.
Right. Right. I mean, it's kind of like, you're responsible for your water line up, kind of to, you're, in a normal situation.
Well, it's almost like when we had the raw water line that broke.
Yeah.
They wouldn't
Right.
they wouldn't fix that because
Right.
it was on theirs.
And if we could identify with some degree of confidence that it was over there, they have the resources to potentially address it faster than we do.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I think the big thing is just trying to. I need to find out exactly what all Jeff has discovered in all this, and then maybe we can make a little bit more informed decision from there. I mean, it's just It just seems so ridiculous to me that we just can't get anywhere on this water loss, and even on replacing lines, it's just like, here we are a year later.
We'll probably get the green light in March.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Right when everything thaws out and business picks up.
All right, any other utility updates?
Not that I'm aware of, no. That's the only thing we talked about today, so.
Okay. Cool, thanks for that, so. All right, moving to financials.
So, okay, let me try to break this down a little bit. So, we currently have $78,321 in our general fund. But we have spent, out of that for this month so far, we spent $784 for Precision Accounting, $7,900 on the audit, and $131 on my travel there. So that brings us down to $69,505.93 in our general fund. Of that, we have $34,832.74 that is restricted to Powell bill. So that only leaves us $34,804, a little bit less than that, because let's see, $34,704 in our general fund that is available to spending. Our average spending is about $8,000 a month at the moment. That's what we've been spending out of general fund. So, using those numbers, a couple of months at best. And we can't spend it all the way down simply because if the town was going to go under, we would need to have time to unravel it. Okay, so
Time
that
and
means,
resources, we're gonna have bills associated with
yeah,
it.
that's going to be, and plus there will still be wages in trying to get that all unraveled and all of the end results done. We got vehicles, we got Derek Digger, we got, that utility trailer, we got several things that would have to be taken into account there and removing and getting rid of. And so we can't deplete it all the way down. And there's also, when we got Carrie and we brought her over, one of the things that we agreed to do as a town was the money that she was getting in her
State pension?
retirement.
Yeah.
That we would pay what the town was giving her when she worked in Robbinsville. So we got to give her a payment out of that. Plus, there's also policies in there for my demise and those vacation and severance and stuff. So those are things that would have to be paid out of that as well.
Vacation.
Yeah, vacation and the severance pay. So,
So I think a general thought process was 3 months at roughly 8 on the base expenses, payroll, council, insurance, things of that nature. That'd get us 24, and that'd probably leave about 10 or so remaining for the incidentals. So generally speaking, it's the opposite of the light at the end of the tunnel. We can see the doomsday kind of clock ticking down for the town.
So I'm going on this vacation. I leave next Friday. When I come back, which is going to be first 2 weeks of February, so it's going to be mid-February. I mean, we're going to have money, or we're going to have to start that procedure. I mean, we're going to have to. Now, our utility fund's even worse. So we have $18,000 in there, $543, but these checks haven't hit yet, but they've been cut and sent in. One's for $9,189.97. That's on the chemicals. One is $260.26 for the phone and internet, and one was for $4,558 for our analysis. These analyses are done every week, and we have to continue them. So that leaves us with like $4,534.84 in there. The only thing we can use that for is these analyses, and then with that, that's only going to be for 2 more months, and that's going to be done too. So
we're below 5,000 on the balance on the utility fund, and we've pretty much got that allocated, the remaining towards the analysis.
Yeah, we can't spend anything else out of there on
Purchase any more
anything,
chemicals.
except for on analysis, and that's because that is a weekly thing, and if we can't not do it and keep the plant open. So, we can't buy no more chemicals, we can't,
We'll get
yeah.
the chemicals, the plan honestly.
Well, I'm just, yeah, that may be the case, I'm just telling you where we're at, you know.
Yes.
I can't tell Carrie, yes, you can go ahead and get chemicals, because I cannot,
We gotta coordinate that with Charlotte and people in the back office. then.
yeah, because I have to have, see, we have that stamp that we put on that says we got the money to back it, and if we
Yeah.
don't got that, then we can't order. I mean, we can't. That's
Okay, then we'll.
okay. So, either way, it's not good. I know, I don't, you know, I've said before, if we don't want the town, if the town's not, you know, whatever, then we need to just face that and move forward from there. You know, if the town is needed and they feel like that, you know, we're valuable enough to keep on board, then there's gotta be money. I mean, and
So utility reimbursements, can you recap where we're at on that?
I can, so, we currently,
I mean, I guess you kinda had what, a through December.
yeah, we currently are, the total due for the utilities is $28,672.82. And then, the past charged amounts for services rendered January through November and, the user fees comes to $111,000. So, 28, 38,
It was January through what?
January through, November, because this is December's that's on here. So with December's added into that, it is $111,000.
And then on the utility side, what you've spent so far, but basically what January's reimbursement will be thus far. What was that, roughly 10 grand or 11 grand, or I can't remember.
Let's see, the utility sub fund that we spent was 9,189, 97, 260.26, and 4,558. That's what we spent out.
13 and change.
Huh?
13,
Right.
somewhere between 13 and 14.
Yeah, that would be added onto this 28.
Okay. All right.
And then, on the utility, on the user side, it would be the, 784.79 and then 131.07 added on that, so a little 85, something like that. Maybe a little bit more now. 90, maybe 9,000. Added on to the 111. No, that's wrong, that's a straight thing, that's 8,000, never mind, yeah.
Correct. Yeah, just the 8th for December.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, 8th for December.
We also, everybody has to sign this, we have an audit letter that just gotta get sent into the LGC that is, stating that, that our general fund is, operating at a loss, our fund balance is at a loss, and our water and sewer expenditures exceeded our budget. And, our plans to address it, was very basic, you increase fund balance availability by exercising greater control over expenditures, to decrease the amount of operating loss, excluding depreciation, plus debt service to a positive value in the general fund, keeping a stricter watch on expenses and decreasing the amounts paid for operating expenses so that we can yield a positive result. And then management and the governing board will continue to monitor budgets monthly and make necessary amendments to avoid expenditures in excess of appropriations. So that's what this letter reads, and I'm going to pass it around, and there's a place for everybody to sign on it there. And if you want to read, if you want to read it.
Sounds.
Is there any information regarding user fee payments? Any updates? Is there any formal reason given that there aren't payments?
Well, I
Or
know
what
some
is
of
the
it,
actual reason?
some of it is because there was never a signed agreement between the town and the resort. We did rework it to where, with this new budget cycle, you know, that, I don't know, did you get agreements from them that was at the 8,000? When we did the new budget cycle, that, under the impression that that was approved, and then, I've tried to, talk to, did you sign this?
I think that's me.
That's you, okay. I look like Samantha. You guys, no, that's you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys write a lot of lie. But, you know, I tried to talk to the powers that be there a little bit, but it's just, I don't know. Nothing,
It's perplexing to say the least.
yeah.
And I think it's risen to a degree where it's, you know, it's like I was talking with Tiffany, you know, it's like stages of grief, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
That's kind of what it feels like,
it's
yeah.
frustration, it's anger, but I think I'm starting to actually accept the fact the town is going to die.
Right.
There's
I don't really see it that way. I think
we'll be on life
we should go to a
support
closed
indefinitely.
session instead of this.
Okay. Well, I mean, the bottom line is our
I would
revenues
suggest going to
are
closed session. That's my
completely,
suggestion.
well, we can't do it for that.
Yeah, we get, that's not one of the things we can go to closed session, but,
At the end of the day, our revenues are zero.
yeah, and we've used all of our fund balance, and we can't provide for any kind of an emergency in any way, and so, you know, it is either money has to come in or the town goes down. I mean, those are the two options at this point.
Uncomfortable or not, that's where we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
but
just-
we can all squirm in our chairs talking about it, but
It's just, that, I mean, it is
Yeah,
what
no,
it is. It's,
Yeah. I mean, that is just the facts of the matter. And there may be things that we're not aware of, and I hope that
I
there
would
is,
imagine there's
you know.
probably a lot more complex scenario going on than is
I know the resort
currently
operates at a whole
understood.
different level, and I get that too, and that's why, you know, but, that's why I just went with the facts. You know, that's all I can
Well,
do.
I think, well, for sure, I would say that alienating the largest employer in our township and the sole source of, not sole source, but primary source of income for the town of Fontana Dam is a politically uncouth move, especially in a public scenario like this. So I would think that a solution is achievable, but I don't think that the tone and tenor of the discussions and the tone and tenor of the council is helping progress these ideas along in any way whatsoever. So that's my opinion. I don't see an entity that has, do we have debt? Do we have bonds that we're owed that we're defaulting on? We don't. We're debt free. We have a
We're not
cash
allowed-
crunch,
we're not
but
allowed
we
to
don't
have
have debt. Yeah, exactly. We don't have debt. We're not over leveraged. Like, we're simply not.
but from a financial standpoint, I don't know, you're thinking about it purely from a business standpoint. I'm
Yeah.
looking at it, and if you wanna talk financials, we had $175,000 in the
Yeah.
bank this time last year.
No, I understand that.
Now we've got 75 in the bank, and there is no, we're not in the loop on any solutions. And so I guess if I feel hopeless, it's because I have no information for hope. And I would welcome anyone to have a conversation to change my mind and my tone and my tenor.
Well, I don't think it's not meant to be like pointing fingers at anybody. It's just the fact, this is what the financial status of the town is. I can't continue to pay things when I don't have money. That is the bottom line. That's not pointing fingers at anybody. That's saying
And I'm not
this
pointing,
is,
we're not pointing fingers at, I think we're not, I think we're just trying to state that if this continues, and we've been stating that, it's unsustainable. I think everybody can agree that it's unsustainable. So what will happen is one of two things. Either a solution will be found or a solution will not be found. And I tend to think that in the lack of a solution thus far, or even a discussion about the solution,
We're receiving updates towards the solution, you know, hey,
it
here's what we're thinking,
trends
here's
towards
what, you know.
no solution. I mean, unless we're going to wind it all the way down to zero, and then a solution will somehow magically appear.
Which, you know, according to LGC, we can't go that low. We can't go to zero. You know, because there's going to be.
But I guess the point here is, on the horizon, we only have roughly 3-ish months
and that's
of
a good thing.
operational money before we're not going to be able to financially proceed. So, and I guess that's why I feel, frankly, I'm sad. I'm sad about the state of a lot of things.
But it is what it is. So anyway, that is all that I had on the agenda, because you know it is my job as the town administrator to keep the council up to date on where we're at financially, regardless again of how uncomfortable that makes people. We have people that I know it affects more personally than others, you know, but my job is clear. I have to let you know where we stand financially.
Sure.
And that has to be done in open session. It has to be done at meetings where we're all engaged. That's the bottom line. So there we go. There we are. Like I said, that's all I have.
Anything else we don't have any action, I guess,
No.
so.
Did we need to go ahead and say, new dates? New dates
Yeah.
for next
How do we want to?
Are you
I-
on
I
that?
might open
Whatever you
it.
guys call it, I will be there.
Anything that works.
I'll be on a
wide
plane,
open.
maybe just one of us though, just so you know, because of the complexity of
Probably.
February.
I mean, yeah,
It's
26
it's
is
totally-
probably. about
26
that,
is,
right?
yeah, that's what it looks like today, but yeah. 26 is a
26,
better
yeah.
bet for me, but if this is the day that works for everybody, I will get on the plane and I will be there.
I don't have anything.
I'm wide
pressing.
open. I can-
Yeah, I'm good for
That-
26.
that's
I mean, because actually that works better for me, because it's going to give me more time to get everything pulled together for the
Great.
next meeting.
And
Because I don't get back until the 17th anyway. It's be my next day at work, so. After I leave on Friday. Or on Wednesday.
Enjoy.
This is that resolution thing I need you to sign. That was for accepting the AR, it's just,
Oh, that's right.
yeah, that ARP funding, the 6,000. I've had to go through more paperwork on that 6,000 than I have really with ARC, other than the environmental study, of course, but.
All right then, so we're gonna do our next meeting February the 26th, 5:30. It'll be different than our normally scheduled third Wednesday. It'll be our fourth Wednesday of that month. If we don't have anything else, we will adjourn at 6:17.